think I need a little extra coffee for this one. Let's talk about Playground by Richard Powers, by Vicky Powers, the Dickster. Hello, book friends. It's Alyssa. Welcome back to the channel. Hello if you're new. Welcome to Booker 2024. We're on our penultimate Booker book. I'm so excited to be done with this because I'm ready for other books in my life. I'm ready to take the reviewing hat off and just return to my normal life and see the fallout of all of my thoughts and what the shortlist is and what ultimately wins and who I've pissed off and all the things that come after I finish reviewing Booker. I'm going to stop holding this because I'm sure that this is bothering somebody. Let's talk about Playground. Okay, so this is my first Richard Powers book, and I think that this is not the one to have started with. Based on comments that people have given me from my little bits of statements that I've made in Substack and maybe online on my Instagram. But this feels like the Nepo baby pick of Booker. It's not even out yet. It's not even going to be out when the shortlist is announced. I think it's only here because it's Richard Powers. Is that why this is here? Because it's not a good book. It's not a good book. It's not the worst book. It's somewhat well written. But at the end of the day, when you put all these pieces together, why did I read this book? It's so stupid. And there's things in it that just feel wrong. So the general gist of this is that you have like a couple different people and that have different narratives that all end up intertwining. And then there's like a twist, all right? Which sounds like it's formulaic, at least for, was it bewilderment? I don't know. Ben Reedscope was telling me, Dee Reeds told me not to give up on Richard Powers. And Ben Reedsgood says to me, Ben, I hope you don't mind me reading this, that even he found it a little bit, like as a Powers fan, he found this book a little off, but he says it's very much a redo of the Overstory. And because it feels formulaic, it feels like it's not anything new. It feels hollow in a lot of ways. And I've never read any Richard Powers, so like I can't speak to it, but this is somebody who loves Richard Powers, or at least loved the Overstory. And is that the one? I can't, Bewilderment. I think that's the one he loved. Bewilderment's supposed to be a masterpiece, but anyway, the Overstory. I don't know these books. It just felt very hollow. So you have like Raffi, who is this young Black boy in Chicago. You have our narrator, I think his name is Tom. I'm trying to block this book out. And he ends up being this like tech billionaire. And then you have Evie, who's this woman who becomes like an oceanographer. She dives a lot. She works with Jacques Cousteau, which, by the way, I kept thinking, like, when I was a kid, Jacques Cousteau was everywhere. I feel like always on my TV was Jacques Cousteau, and I just feel like we don't get that kind of ocean content anymore. And maybe that was like a network TV thing, and we don't have network TV, but I just feel like there was more Cousteau in the world, and maybe we need that. Maybe we need to go back to like a more oceanic life. So you have those people, and then you have this island in the French Polynesia where you have these people here, and it hits all their stories, all their lives kind of all end up intertwining. And then, like I said, there's a twist at the end that I found infuriating. It was so dumb. But anyway, the best parts of this are honestly Evie's story. Every Evie storyline with the ocean, with her experience, with her life, with how she breaks down boundaries as a woman, you know, becoming this oceanographer, this diver, this expert in like the 50s and 60s, and how that affects like her ability to, you know, her marriage and her children and all this other stuff. All of those, I really love that. I thought that was fantastic. Raffi's stuff felt very uncomfortable. His language and dialogue, frankly, bordered on being racist to me. It made me very uncomfortable to read the way that Richard Powers wrote him. And there's even a scene where like Tom is talking, and it was one of his passages reflecting on his time with Raffi as they were growing up. And like, he's saying how like in this one particular moment, like almost like Raffi must have been serious because he wasn't doing jive talk. And like that made me like, ugh. Like I really didn't like, I didn't like the way that Raffi was portrayed, especially through Tom's eyes. But it didn't change all that much when a different perspective was reflecting on Raffi, or when Raffi was in his own perspective. And occasionally like Raffi would talk and it just like would be weird because he'd be like talking sort of, it was almost like he was code switching, but I don't think it was intentional. like in James, the code switching is very intentional. I think it was just like somebody not understanding how to write a person of color felt very uncomfortable. There was also this moment that I swear this happened, and because this is a PDF, you can't even see what it is, because the eArc is a PDF, and I forgot that I can actually like highlight it like normal on an eArc on my scribe. So I was highlighting in a way that I can't search, unfortunately. I was like marking up the document. So I'm not going to go back through all the pages to find it because I just don't care enough. So tell me if I was hallucinating or not. But I feel like there was a moment where Evie comes out as queer and then it just disappears. And I was wondering where we were going with this character development, and nowhere was the answer to that. I thought this was essentially altogether a hot mess. There were pieces of it that were okay. There were moments where we kind of reflected on things like AI, microplastics in the ocean, just eco stuff in general, pollution, all that, whatever it's called, where you're like sovereign state, like safe steading, whatever it's called. I'll put the word up on the screen where I can't remember the name of it. All of that stuff, it was interesting to see. There was some race stuff, there was some gender stuff, there was some colonialism stuff, but not really. It honestly felt like Richard Powers just cranked out a book that he's written before, or at least similar to a book he's written before, threw in some more current topics, and just, I don't know, maybe he needed to pay a bill. I'm not sure. It feels like it just shouldn't freaking be here. And if this is shortlisted, I'm gonna be really annoyed because it shouldn't be here. It is not a good book. There's a lot of mediocre books on this list, but even the mediocre ones I think are better than this. Like, they're doing something. They have some substance. They have a message. They have a reason. They have, even Headshot is trying to do something, despite the fact that I really didn't like it. It's trying to do something and do it differently. This was terrible. This feels like the kind of book you pick up at the airport because you forgot your book and you just needed something to read. It's not something that should be on the booker. It's so bad. I really dislike this. And I've seen a couple really good reviews for it, and I don't understand because I feel like maybe we're reading a different book. Somebody said it was poetic. Where? There is poetry in it. What, it's not a poetic book. That same person said it's, not to call out a person, but like the same person said that it's up there with Stoner as one of their favorite books of the year, which to me, I'm like, how do you put Stoner and Playground together? Like, they are miles apart in caliber. And anyway, I did not like this. This is going at the bottom. This is actually you know what? I think I'm going to put this at the very bottom of the list. I really don't like this. I really feel like this is the Nepo book. This is the book that's only here because somebody wanted to give a nod to Richard Powers. This is not good. I don't know why it's longlisted. And my only thing is, hopefully it's not shortlisted, and then none of you have to read it because it's not even out until after the shortlist. So then you can all just ignore it, and that's it. Maybe they just needed to draw up sales for it because everybody knew it was going to be a flop, so they longlisted it. I don't know. There's got to be. Or does it go back to the heart nonsense because it has heart? It doesn't have heart. I just really dislike this book. Anyway, I'm going to stop here because we're getting closer to March. And yeah, that's it. Let me know your thoughts if you've read this. Let me know your thoughts generally on Richard Powers, because he feels like he's like a little bit polarizing. Some people absolutely adore him, and other people are like, Dickie Powers sucks. So we just kind of want to know everybody's thoughts in the comments. And should I read another one, or should I just be like, nah, ghost Dick Powers, just ghost it? I don't know. That's it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. I'll see you in my next review, my last review for Booker 2024. Anyway, thank you so much.